Are you in a relationship?
Acid, ecstasy, cocaine. Am I in a relationship? Yes, I am in a relationship. I'm in a relationship with many different people. And one person in particular. Yes, I'm in a relationship.
What's his name?
And his name is Gustav Anders Ruth.
Cool. Got. That's it.
I'm in Los Angeles or Hollywood or whatever. The guy was so strung out in heroin, it was gnarly. There's big bumps in his hand and like on his veins, and I thought to myself, I'm like, how could this guy do
An interview?
like just fully just, and he goes, he's all, and he was doing the lean, he's all.
You got the shot, right? You got the shot?
The heroin makes it, you know? It's what produces me and makes me who I am. It was so weird. Give me all your money or I'm gonna shoot. Here.
Ready when you are.
Right?
Action!
Imagine that. Imagine pulling a gun on yourself and give me all your money. Okay.
What do you think your biggest challenge will be for BMI when your father exits?
The biggest challenge for BMI when Gustav Sr. takes off and does something different is, once again, going to be me. How do I fill the role of what my father's done? Well, maybe that might be the easiest solution to everything. I find someone that can do it. I know what needs to be done. That is not my strength. Being a CEO of this company, I don't think is my strength. Maybe I hire Tony Hawk or something. I mean, I read about him in the cover of Inc. magazine today, and he had very interesting things to say too. Basically, one of the things he was saying was like, don't go into unfamiliar territories. He tried to sell jeans with his partner, and it didn't work, and then he had to take a year and a half to pay off his partner. I don't think I should strengthen my weakness. I mean, work on some of my weaknesses, but not strengthen them to the point where like I'm going to totally take them over. So once Gustav Sr. exits the building, so to speak, it's going to be up to me to find someone to replace him. And I don't want to replace him, and actually my father is irreplaceable from that standpoint, but a smart businessman, at some point I need to stand back and tell people what to do. That's what I'm good at. And I can kind of do my other thing, but tell people what to do. Bring the right person in for the right position, and tell that person what to do. Just because you're CEO doesn't mean you run the business. The owner runs the business. Someone else will be the CEO, I will be the O.
Great.
Let's keep going. Oh, that's okay.
Ooh. Woo.
Okay, go.
Or like when President Bush went like this, he's all, are we on? Oh. Remember that?
What's the
Fucking journalists. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
You cut me off?
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
What's up?
Yeah, it is. It's running.
Oh, we have your action. That'd be your action.
Action!
Right.
Action!
What's the biggest threat to your business besides economy?
The biggest threat to my business is probably me. It's probably me.
Why?
There's times you really feel like you just go, I'm sick of this crap. I mean, really, honestly, that's got to be the biggest threat. I'm glad I didn't know that question in advance, because I would have thought it's got to be me.
Why?
And you might ask, why am I the biggest threat to me, to the business? Because what if I suddenly just got tired of it? What if I suddenly went, I'm tired of doing this, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not reaching the goal I want to reach. Then you have to say, well, what's the goal? What's the main goal? What's the main goal? I'm not sure what the main goal is, but I can tell you this much, that it's kind of The Alchemist, that book, The Alchemist, you know? This guy on his journey to try to find what he wants to find, and really what he didn't realize what he was trying to find was already right in front of him the whole time. That's kind of like, I hope I didn't just spoil that for anybody who hasn't read the book, but you have to read it to totally understand. Let's say it takes 100 steps to get to where I want to go, and wherever that is, I'm not really quite sure. Let's say it takes 100 steps to get there, and at 99 steps, or maybe even in that 99th step, I'm like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. Ooh, wouldn't that suck to know that if you just would have finished that step, that you would have reached whatever that goal is? And so that's kind of how I kind of view what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm not really sure what the main goal is, but I know that the biggest threat to my business would be me, because of giving up, or not feeling that I've gotten enough out of it, or we're not where we were supposed to be. then I have to ask, well, where are we supposed to be? So it's kind of like it's a give and take, and it's sure at one point, either someone's going to hand you a big award and say, oh, I want to take the academy, or you're going to get the satisfaction of the money's coming in and now we can apply that to other things. But I think we'll always be moving in a direction where the biggest threat to the business would be me. So just kind of chill out, take a deep breath, turn 45 tomorrow, and know that you're on the right path. I've got to be on the right path. I mean, I brought my dad in. People bring their father in their own business, you know, and say, Dad, I need your help. Because my dad's not my biggest threat. My employees aren't my biggest threat. My cats aren't my biggest threat. And you guys sure aren't my biggest threat. So it would have to be me. It's a mental game. It's I against I. I said it before. It's you against you. That's it.
Go for it.
How many employees does Barely Made It have?
Employees. Let's see. How many employees does Barely Made It have? Well, I've got Benjamin, Daniel, and Eric. Those guys are all paid. And so you might want to ask how many paid employees I have and how many non-paid employees. So I have 3 paid employees. I have my father and I, my brother Nick, my brother Jonas. So you got 3 other people plus 1 more that are just doing what they have to do to make the business survive and thrive.
Who's been here the longest?
If anybody's been here the longest, it's me. Gustav's been here the longest. Gustav's been the longest employee of this company, and he always will. Sometimes I wish I could fire myself, but I don't know what I would do otherwise. Hire me, I just fired myself. But if you're going to say who's been here the longest, as in who's been my biggest partner, my dad has. And for the first 10 years I ran Planet Ruth in San Diego, my dad wasn't much of a part of my business, though he was. He helped me do my financials, declare taxes, and gave me good advice along the way. So my dad's been with me the longest. As an employee, of course, Master Craftsman Benjamin Lavender. He's been my right-hand man, a huge support for when it comes to designs, when it comes to being a friend, good advice, and we've been pretty much through hell and back together. And so I'm sure, and we'll always be together one way or another. But you know, you got to pick and choose the people who are going to be on your team pretty wisely. And sometimes you don't pick those people; they just show up in your life, and 8 years go by and they're still part of it. So. Benjamin, sometimes he can be the foundation of what kind of holds it together, but when he holds it together, I mean more or less from a psychological point of view, because sometimes you need to vent to someone, they have to be willing to listen to you, even though they might get sick of it after years.
Great. Let's stop.
Yeah, stop. Okay, it's you.
What is your relationship with your father in this business?
My relationship with my father in this business, Barely Made It, it's kind of a multifaceted answer. Most importantly, number 1, he's my supporter. You can lean on your parents just as much as you'd want them to lean on you. So my dad's been a supporter, but more importantly, my dad's been a mentor. Teaching the artist guy, the creative guy, more the hard, cold facts of how to run a business. You know, put your stone face on, put your emotions on the shelf. Creativity is good in business, but creativity, as a creative person, you can be all over the board, all over the map. And when it comes to business, you can't be all over the map. You have to be very stringent, on point, very exact. And when I say exact, it has to do with numbers as well. And my dad is really good with numbers, so why not bring him on board and teach me a few things and also get a good laugh out of him, because he's kind of a funny character. He brings a lot to the table, and sometimes I don't like it. But if you liked everything that was given to you, or like taught to you, then what would you actually learn? So my dad in the company, he's a huge part of this business, and a huge part of me learning how to be creative whilst being a businessman. So that's what my dad brings to the table.
Great. What do you feel about your advisors, the board of directors?
When it comes to my board of directors and my advisors, I guess you could kind of put them all in the same basket, because my board of directors basically is my board advisor, or my advisory board. Though on my advisory board, some of the people that have nothing to do with my business. Advice is golden, really. What they say in high school, even in college, don't be afraid to ask stupid questions. What's a stupid question? I mean, a stupid question might be, why is the sky blue? But is that stupid? because how many people actually know why the sky is blue? An advisory board basically gives you advice, but they're only going to give you the advice that you're asking questions about. So you kind of have to have this feeling already what's inside that. Okay, this is not my strength, so let me ask my advisory board. Let me ask my guys, my gals. What do you guys think about this? And basically, if you just listen to each and every one of the people on your advisory board, you can take 90% of that and throw it out the window. They'll never know it. And take that one little 10% and spread it amongst all of them. You're going to get good advice, and you're going to go in the right direction. I mean, usually the majority rules. I'm not saying always. So one guy Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he tried to win $1 million in that last question with the audience, and they lost. It's like you can see he wanted to like kill the audience, but like you have to trust the general consensus, but you need to take it into consideration to make the proper decisions what you're trying to do. Because after all, running a corporation is not like a small business. Every decision affects a lot of facets, and so if you're asking for advice, take it
Great.
with a grain of salt as well, I guess.
We'll take this.
And action.
Big old things, onions.
Action. What is Barely Made It?
What is Barely Made It? Barely Made It is basically the combination of artistry, dreams, craftsmanship, and all around general creative thinking. Barely Made It is more not just a statement, but it's kind of a state of mind. You barely made it. Oh, I barely made it. Oh, just on time. Oh, I just got this done. Barely made it pertains to many things we do in life, and sometimes it's that you just got it done just in the nick of time. So it's a little bit of a pun, but it's also kind of serious too, because barrels, noun, barely, adverb, I guess. It's a pun, but it's also the truth. We're barely making it. I mean, we're all barely making it, so it's nothing new, really.
Great.
Keep going.
How did the company first start? How did the idea come around?
The idea for starting my own company pretty much came from when I left Sweden and came back to California. I thought the ideas and the influences out of Sweden and Europe in general, and travels that I did during the 1900s. I'm sorry, 1990s, 1900s. I'm not that old, but so the idea for a lot of things to start my own company basically stemmed from me being excited about the talent that I had, kind of this innate talent that I thought I'd like to show the world, or at least have the world give me a chance to express myself through my artistry. Came to San Diego, and of course just called it Planet Ruth, because everything in my world is kind of like a different planet. So Planet Ruth, just custom furniture, art shows, good times, push yourself, get creative.
What do you make it Barely Make It?
Well, hold
What
on.
do we-
I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Define where Barely Made It came from now.
Okay. So the idea of having my own company obviously came from what I just said, and then the idea for Barely Made It came from actually crisis. So that's kind of where the name comes from as well. Being in a crisis and thinking, we've got this recession, we've got this economic crash in this beautiful country of ours. What are you going to do? A lot of the designers and architects that I work with suddenly found themselves out of work, and with them not having much work, then it pretty much trickled down. It's a trickle-down effect. To me, I didn't have any work, and maybe that's what I thought, okay, well, I don't have work, I don't have my work from other people, and maybe I need to create my work. So let's make furniture out of barrels and give it a go and see what happens, Get creative. Just don't give up, just get creative. Just don't slow down, speed it up a little bit. So Barely Made It basically came from a desperate need to continue what I already started. So Barely Made It really fits, I think.
Action.
What were you doing before this, work-wise?
What was I doing before this? Work-wise, that's good. Work-wise before this would mean learning how to do this. I worked in restaurants, I worked building houses, fixing things, experimenting, using tools to create things. Pretty much studying, school, restaurants, making things before this. And you said this.
switch the hands.
And when you say this,
So when I hit mark 1 like that, it pause. It stops.
Don't mark. Don't hit mark.
Well,
No,
how
just
do-
keep it running until I tell you to stop it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
stand
Okay.
closer to it.
Downstairs.
That's good. That's good. Or I'll stick it more.
Whenever you're ready.
Hello there, I am Gustav G. Ruth Senior. I'm the CEO and President of Planet Ruth Enterprises. We have a division called Barely Made It that concentrates on using reclaimed wine and bourbon barrels to upcycle to products of unbelievable quality, chairs, furniture of various sorts, and part of our business includes the little Max, who is my buddy. He is my little buddy. He is 16 years old, has been with me many years, and he's a comfort to come home to after a busy day at the office or at the business.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect.
You're welcome. Well, oh, you owe me with me, yeah? You took a picture of that too?
You got that right?
Yeah. Well,
Good job. Action.
Tell us your name and your role in Barely Made It.
hello, my name is Gustav G. Ruth Senior, and I, together with my son, is the founder of Barely Made It. I had to take the role as the CEO, the president of the company, because I'm not an artist, so I wouldn't do well in the shop. That is my son's role to deal with those matters. Anyway, we started our company, if I may say so now, in 2009. Prior to that, I actually was retired for a few years. I've always been working for Swedish companies in my life, starting out with the Swedish Volvo Corporation, worked in Sweden and in Canada and in the US, and back to Sweden again and back to the US, and eventually it be just too much to have to move back and forth between the US and Europe, so I later left Volvo for another Swedish company that was quite a different environment. All of a sudden I'm in the sports business. That means that I was running the Husqvarna off-road motorcycle company. Very exciting, however, again, I'm not a motorcyclist, and that caused maybe some friction, because I am a businessman. I have to see that the company is moving forward as a business and not just as a motorcycle off-road competitor. Anyway, I stayed with that for quite some time, and that took us to San Diego. That's why we live here now. Eventually I worked for the Electrolux, another Swedish multinational company that actually acquired Husqvarna, and in that transition I was offered a position with Electrolux. Anyway, retirement came about, and I was free. However, a couple of years later, things changed, and I don't know if I should thank my son Gustav Jr. for that, or who I should thank you, but quite a change had happened in my life.
How did the idea of the barrel furniture start?
Well, the idea of how we should, how we would get involved with these barrels is actually that Junior, who was a craftsman making custom-made furniture, ran into some problems like everybody else did during the recession in 2009. So he asked for my advice, which of course I given freely, and I could see that financially he would not be able to pursue what he wanted to do on his own. I felt that I still have something to offer, so I told him, I'll help you, I'll support you, but I need to get an active role in this venture if I'm going to get involved. because I feel that you probably would prefer to just deal with the creation more than so-called the business aspect of it. So we kicked around the idea, what should we do? And we received a point from one of our relatives. As a matter of fact, had to be my my daughter's husband, my son-in-law, who is in the wine industry, and he recommended, why don't you take a look at barrels? Maybe you can do something about barrels. And we did, and once we done that, we said, okay, we are going to do something that is out of the ordinary, something more unique. We're going to use the staves of the barrels, what do you call it? Deassemble the barrels and then make furniture out of each piece. And Gustav came up with some ideas on how we should build a chair, and he did. And the prototypes were received tremendously well by the friends and others that came to his shop. So we decided, okay, this is it. There is a green wave movement in the marketplace. We should capitalize on that. And we decided that this is the time, even though the economy was poor, but this is the time to come with something different that would catch the public's eye.
How hard is it?
One second.
How it's a business, not a hobby, for him. And that's
Yeah, that's what I have to say,
Rolling.
what is your relation? What is your business relationship with your son? Yeah.
Oh, you ready? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you're asking what my business relationship is with my son. That is a tricky question in a way, because we have more than a business relationship. Obviously, he's part of the family, and sometimes that can have a certain impact in how you communicate and how you look upon each other's opinions and so forth. I did tell him from the very outset, and actually I wrote him a long letter that I have filed away, it's still there, telling him that now then, this is not going to be a hobby of yours, this is going to be a business. You have to pull up your sleeves in a different way, not just the way what you have done in the past, but now we have to focus on numbers as well as on products and other things. The numbers will mean that either we are making it or we're not making it. Whether you make a piece of furniture or not, that's immaterial unless that produces some good numbers for us. So I try to instill in him, of course, that you have to respect and accept that I will be firm on following up matters so that we can see that we are making progress. P&L statements have to be made on a monthly basis. We have to know where our expenses are, where we are going, and this is a must so that we don't lose track of where are we. So it was not that easy in the beginning. Not that he didn't work with me, of course he did, but I had some problems to convey this to him. So I decided having talked to Junior, that we should have some advisors that give us more of advice in how we should run this business than what I can tell you. So we agreed to form a so-called advisory board, and that advisory board turned out to exist of both a friend of Junior that he has known for some time, his name is Chris, and then a new friend of mine that I have met, very fine gentleman called Robert. And Robert was very instrumental in setting us up in the board, conducting meetings, talk about trust between the people involved, and that we all are in here as a team, and that you have to step out of your box and see it from many other sides than just your personal sides. And he managed to really get us to understand the teamwork concept. So that was, for me, a very advantageous move, that I could get some support for my views, or I could be contradicted too, and Gustav will understand, or he could get his points across through his friends on this advisory board. Things moved on. You know what was difficult in the beginning was that there's so many things to be done. There's so many things to be done, and you can't hire people for everything. So we were just a few in the team, consisting of volunteers, hardly any paid employees, to just make it work in the beginning. But again, so many tasks to be fulfilled, and so few people to handle it.
Perfect.
Relationship with my son.
Growing.
You're growing, and you're explaining of how it's a business, not a hobby, for him. And that's
yeah, that's it, you know.
Growing.
What is your business relationship with your son? Yeah.
Oh, really? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you're asking what my business relationship is with my son. That is a tricky question in a way, because we have more than a business relationship. Obviously, he's part of the family, and sometimes that can have a certain impact in how you communicate and how you look upon each other's opinions and so forth. I did tell him from the very outset, and actually I wrote him a long letter that I have filed away. It's still there. Telling him that now then, this is not going to be a hobby of yours. This is going to be a business. You have to pull up your sleeves in a different way, not just the way what you have done in the past, but now we have to focus on numbers as well as on products and other things. The numbers will mean that either we are making it or we're not making it. Whether you make a piece of furniture or not, that's immaterial unless that produces some good numbers for us. So I try to instill in him, of course, that you have to respect and accept that I will be firm on following up matters so that we can see that we are making progress. P&L statements have to be made on a monthly basis. We have to know where our expenses are, where we are going, and this is a must so that we don't lose track of where are we. It was not that easy in the beginning. Not that he didn't work with me, of course he did, but I had some problems to convey this to him. So I decided having talked to Junior, that we should have some advisors that give us more of advice in how we should run this business than what I can tell you. So we agreed to form a so-called advisory board, and that advisory board turned out to exist of both a friend of Junior that he has known for some time. His name is Chris, and then a new friend of mine that I have met, very fine gentleman called Robert. And Robert was very instrumental in setting us up in the board, conducting meetings, talk about trust between the people involved, and that we all are in here as a team, and that you have to step out of your box and see it from many other sides than just your personal sides. And he managed to really get us to understand the teamwork concept. So that was, for me, a very advantageous move, that I could get some support for my views, or I could be contradicted too, and Gustav will understand, or he could get his points across through his friends on this advisory board. Things moved on. You know what was difficult in the beginning was that there's so many things to be done. There's so many things to be done, and you can't hire people for everything. So we were just a few in the team, consisting of volunteers, hardly any paid employees, to just make it work in the beginning. But again, so many tasks to be fulfilled, and so few people to handle it.
Perfect.
And action.
What is your name and what is your role at Barely Made It?
Well, my name is Eric, of course, and my role here at the company is to be an executive assistant and designer.
How long have you been designing for?
You could say I've done it mostly my whole life in different kind of ways. But the recent few years I've been studying industrial design, and now I want to keep on going.
What does Barely Made It mean to you?
Well, first of all, it's a cluster of so many things. It's it's an art gallery, and it's a workshop, and just an amazing place to work at. Yeah.
What do you feel of Gustav?
Oh, Gustav, he's a certain type, but he has a character which I love. He's a community builder, and he's just like an amazing person to know, good friend, already after just a month.
What do you think about Senior?
What I think about Senior, well, he is like seriously one of the most amazing guys that I've met. He is such a good character to be running the business in the background kind of thing, and just the help and the communication we have is great.
Cool, cut.
Rolling. Yeah, action.
And what is your name and what do you do here?
My name is Eric, of course. I'm the intern here at the company, and I'm working as the executive assistant and designer.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sweden, Stockholm, the capital, and that's where I'm from.
Good job. What does Barely Made It mean to you?
Well, I'm very, very impressed about the whole concept and working with recycling and refining materials from barrels, and that's just what fits me perfectly right now.
How long have you been in the States?
I've been here since mid-December, but I've been working here just 1 month now.
Are you illegal?
Don't say. Yeah. It was a long process to get the visa. I'm happy we got it, so. Yeah.
Great. Where do you see Barely Made It in 5 years?
I think it's going to grow. I think it's going to become much bigger than this. I think it's interesting because I'm like right now just in the path of becoming, this company is going to grow and get bigger in the national market, but also, in the globe. And I'm just very happy to be a part of that. There's so many things happening right now.
What does art mean to you?
Well, art for me, I think is an expression, an opportunity to express myself as a unique individual, designer, from the idea to a prototype in any case, and also to work with wood and sketching on paper or anything.
Great.